Back, our dear viewers, continuing our special coverage for the current war between Israel, the United States and Iran and its repercussions on the whole region. And of course, in an emergency meeting on Tuesday, the UN Security Council discussed the recent attacks on the UN peacekeeping mission in southern Lebanon, which have resulted in the deaths of 3 Indonesian peacekeepers and injured several others from the UNIFIL. To shed more light on the developments on the ground, we are very much delighted to be joined here in the studio by our very dear guest, Counselor Dr. Mohamed Hamza Al-Husseini, Egypt's Counselor to the United Nations. Very good morning and thank you for joining us.
Morning to you. Thank you so much.
Sir, before starting our interview here, we'll go to watch this report regarding the developments where Egypt has strongly actually condemned the attacks against the UNIFIL forces, and in an emergency meeting, the UN Security Council discussed the recent attacks on the UN peacekeepers in southern Lebanon. Details in the following story.
The UN chief warned Tuesday that southern Lebanon could become another occupied territory in the Middle East as Israeli forces push deeper into Lebanon amid renewed threats to seize the area. The aid chief, Tom Fletcher, told the Security Council that the war in Lebanon has already displaced 1.1 million people. Early on Tuesday, Israel's Defense Minister Israel Katz said the military would occupy a swath of southern Lebanon even after the war ends, following clashes between Israeli forces and Hezbollah fighters during the invasion. Katz's statement was not the first Israeli declaration signaling an intention to occupy parts of the south, but it was the clearest since the Middle East war spread to Lebanon on March 2nd. Meanwhile, UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres has condemned the attacks as grave violations of international humanitarian law. Lebanon's UN representative Ahmed Arafah urged the Security Council to condemn the Israeli statements about a planned occupation. He also called for the Council to take the necessary measures to compel Israel to halt its incursions and threats to Lebanon's territorial integrity and political independence.
And welcome back, of course, sir. Many developments are taking place on the ground since the eruption of war more than 34 days ago, and we are seeing here escalations on different fronts as well by attacking the UNIFIL and the killing of peacekeepers in southern Lebanon. How do you see such developments and its impact on the whole situation in the region?
To answer that question, we need to divide the question into 2 parts. The first part is how the situation now in the war of Iran and the United States and Israel. It's the war is there is expeditions happening. The exchange of the fire is not stopping. Yeah, in some certain zone, look like the GCC, that the GCC countries, the attack does not look like in the beginning of the war, because in the beginning of the war, in the first 15 days, there was several attacks in a daily basis to the GCC countries. What Iran has called that it's related to the American bases in the Gulf countries, which is totally mistaken, because what they have did is they attacked the civilian and commercial and industrial zones, which is against any laws. And the second thing is, while we talk about this war and the people is listening to us in the other countries, this war, it was not it's not a winning war. This war, it's the 3 parties, the Americans, the Israelis, the Iranian, will lose. No one will win in this war. And when you see that in the United States, as we know that it's a country with the several institutions that it's divided to the Republican and the Democratic. They have looked like now they are in the middle of not finding a decision of this, because this war have been done with a solo agreement between Benjamin Netanyahu and President Trump.
Yes.
And this war is not America war, this is Israel war. And we all know that what happened since Benjamin Netanyahu have taken the chair in Israel in the last couple of years, that our region is unstable. The Middle East, before we see this person it was at least 50% stable. But now, since this person in the chair, he is promoting the idea and the ideology to the Israeli people that they are under attack. There is a countries want to eliminate them. There must be a situation related to Hamas, related to Al-Houthi, related to Iran, and he keep promoting that. And even the allies he have did in our region, he is pushing them for the situation of eliminating the Shia part, the crescent of the Shia, and the Sunnah. So this person, he is dividing our region, he is lying to his own people, and he is making all of us living in instability situation. And he, with President Trump, have taken a decision. It will be, we can call it, it's the worst war decision have been done in the American history after Vietnam. And some of our friends in the Security Council, while we was talking last week, and then we was talking about that there is now essays that America have transferred its troops to come in the land in Iran. And this will be the biggest mistake will happen in the new history of America. Because when we call Vietnam, what happened in Vietnam? It was the same situation. And then the America didn't win the war. It's called the only small country, small poor country at that time who defeated the United States. And even they make the strikes, even they make and send them troops. There is thousands of the American soldiers have been killed in this country, in Vietnam. Now the history, it's returning back. American people must see this, that United States is going in a war for Israel, not for America. Iran didn't attack the United States by any means. By any means. We talk about the American bases. How many years the American bases is in the GCC? The American bases in the GCC, since the lie have been done to Saddam in Iraq in 1990, up to 2026, you are talking about how many years? 36 years? There is no one soldier in the American bases in these 6 GCC countries, or even in Jordan, in the American bases, has been even injured by the Iranian regime. Iranian regime didn't make any attacks to the American people in the United States. The Iranian regime didn't attack any embassy of the USA in our region in those from 1979, since this regime have taken the leadership in Iran up to now. So while we are talking here, it's nobody touched the American people. Now the ideology that have been promoted in the United States in the last 60 years about Israel, the American people themselves, now it's the American community, it's divided, because there is a huge number of people that talking about Israel, it's look like it's a religious, this is a religious holy place for the American people. And they, even when you see now, even in the social media, the American people themselves, they go to the troops, they go to the soldiers, they go to the employees, they go to the senators and ask them, Israel first or America? And now it's common to the American community that Israel is #1 before the United States. So this is #1. #2, when we talk about Israel, they are manipulating the international law. They don't respect the United Nations.
Not only in Lebanon, not only in Iran, not only in Gaza, in the West Bank. Every time we are witnessing violations of the international law and massacres against humanity committed by the Israelis.
Why? Because they feel themselves as above all of us. Israel is always looking to us here in the Middle East, and even to the European people, that we are downgraded to them. I'm talking about the not the Israeli people, I'm talking about this bloody administration that now is taking rule in this country. Nobody of all of us here in Egypt, as we are the strongest, and we will be always the strongest country in the Middle East, and they fear us as what happened before and what can happen in the future. Yeah, we have a peace agreement with them, and we respect this, and they respect this, and they take the peace agreement with Egypt is one of the most powerful achievements that they have done in them history, because they cannot go with us. We are, as a strong country, we don't manipulate. We don't go and attack anyone. We always appease people. We always go in all our history. Egypt is always trying to protect its neighbors and brothers in the Arab nations.
Indeed.
Egypt, even in the international community, known as one of the most respected and heavy country in the planet. And with the Israeli, in the last 5 years, since this, I can call this Benjamin Netanyahu as the cancer of the Middle East. This is my say. I already said in one press release to me that this person, as he and his administration, Ben Ghafir, Smotrich, all of them, they are bloody people.
Ideology,
they are the ideology to them is looking for blood. No one of them looking for peace. And even yesterday, when you see in the Senate, to them in this Knesset,
the decision of execution of
the Palestinian.
Yes,
come on, this is what is this? And they are cheering up with the champagne and drinks and they are joyful.
I'll take it from here, sir. What is the stance here of the UN, of the international organization, of the international community regarding all these developments, attacks against the peacekeeping missions, the UNIFIL in southern Lebanon? This Knesset approving the execution law against the Palestinians, which is very against all laws and all human laws and international laws. And how do you see these developments, and what should be here the reaction of the international community and the United Nations regarding these very alarming developments?
Look, to us in the UN, we strongly condemned about what happened in Lebanon and attacking the UNIFIL troops. They are there to make everything in order. They are peacekeepers. This is a called peacekeeping mission. You cannot attack them. There is an international law that this Israel, the problem to Israel, when you look to Israel, why Israel don't respect the international law? Why they don't respect the humanitarian law? Why they don't respect the United Nations, the National Council? They don't respect anyone because they are protected by the United States of America. This is our main factor. When we talk about the American and the US as a country, we have a great diplomatic relation with them.
Indeed.
They go in a lot of, even President Trump, he go in a lot of countries and make the peace. He was a peacemaker. But when it's come to Israel, they know they are protected. Even when you go in the National Security Council and try to take an order against them, and you know the veto, the America, they will gonna to vote against anything, will be even to punish Israel for what they are doing, for what they did in Gaza, for what they did in Lebanon, for what they are doing now in our region, for all of these attacks. Nobody cannot. Nobody can touch them. You see now, I'm gonna to delight you in one thing. Before 20 years ago in Europe, they was with Israel. The European people, I'm not talking the administration.
Yes.
Administrations, 100% they must be with Israel because they are the one who make this Israel come in our region. But since 20 years, and exactly the last 10 years, the European people now, they are against this plans that's happening, this administration, the social media, we can call it the force power to the whole world. Now the European people, they go and they protest in the streets. We see it in the first time holding the flags of Palestine. This has happened in the last 3 years. And now it's happening in the United States of America itself. So you can imagine that the people of our planet know that we have just one place in this earth always making an instability of our system. Look in Asia, look in Europe, look to the Americas, look in Africa, look in Australia, look to all the lands in the planet Earth. No wars. Wars just happened by Israel in our region. Because in them religious beliefs now, what they are doing, which is totally not right, and they are taking some parts of the Holy Book and they are putting it to the community. This is the message of the God for them to have the greatest Israel. And we all know that, and we all see this speeches by the Prime Minister himself when he said now we are changing the map of the Middle East. No, you cannot change it. And now in the social media there is look like attacks in the social media between Egypt and its neighbors. Now they are doing a totally different war situation. They cannot come against us, but they can manipulate and put the poison between the blood relation with us and the GCC. Now there is a lot. Egypt didn't do anything.
Mr. Ambassador, we have to admit here that we are always trying to de-escalate the situation and the crisis on the ground, and we are always supporting our brothers in the Gulf states and in Jordan against these attacks against the infrastructure, against the civilians, of course, which is against all international laws and against the sovereignty and security of the Gulf states and Jordan, of course.
That's correct. And here we have mentioned 16 times that we are against Iran, we are against Israel. We are with our brothers in the GCC and in the Arab countries. This is Egypt.
Yes.
Egypt.
So to what extent what's happening here against the Gulf states, which have always been of no aggression to anyone, or they did never attack any neighboring countries, is considered a violation of international law as well, because we are seeing attacks against civilians, we are seeing attacks against desalination plant, against infrastructure, against oil infrastructure as well, airports. So what's the reaction here that should be taken by the international community as well against this?
The international community now, let's put it divided in three sections. First section is the United Nations. In the UN, now we have a lot of movements now towards Israel and the United States and Iran itself. We are not supporting any one of these three countries. So in the UN, as what we see that there is a meetings happening right now, and this week exactly, that the UN and the National Security Council will have an important meeting towards what happened in Lebanon with our troops, and this is because this is against the international law, against the beliefs and against everything, and Israel need to be punished of what they have did. Number two, for Iran, will be an international decision will be taken by the United Nations in this week, and also Israel and the United States of condemning this war, because this war didn't done anything to anyone except that our region have been unstable more and more and more. So the movement now is each country in the 250 countries in the planet. Let's say that there is just 19 countries in Europe, and Egypt and Turkey and Pakistan. They are now taking the movement to try to make look like a peace agreement. But the problem here in the Iran side, they don't trust the Americans, because in every time there will be a negotiation, there will be attacks. You can, if you can just recall, before the strikes, 1 day before the strikes, the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Oman have come in a television interview with the CNN, saying and stating that we have come and we have make the two parties in a near objects. The Iranian have agreed for 85% of what the Americans ask, and the Americans now they are in a negotiation of having an agreement. After 3 hours of his speech, they attack Iran. And this is not the first time. In the war of the 12 days, same situation have been done. So the Iranians don't trust the Americans, and they have all the rights of that. But we are against them in attacking the neighbors. Attack Israel because they are attacking you. Do whatever you want. You have shown the Americans that you have now a weapon and a missile for a 4,000 kilometers. And that was a huge surprise to the American Central Intelligence, that Iran have made a factor of a missile can go in a 4,000 kilometer when they attack the island in the Pacific Ocean. It means that Iran, you cannot win Iran. Geographical, this country is a religious country. The people, the system there is so strong. And
So,
the Revolution Guards,
I
they
do
are
believe
controlling it.
that
you know?
de-escalation might be the only way out for all the parties involved and for all the region and the world, because as the President said in his speech before Epics 2026, that the repercussions is very severe, not only on the region but on the whole world. Sir, thank you so much for being our guest for today, Counselor Dr. Mohamed Hamza Al-Husseini, Egypt Counselor to the United Nations. It was a real pleasure.
My pleasure, ma'am. Thank you.
And of course,